Today, we're going to be speaking about a possible double bottom on Bitcoin. And then what I want to show you is 4 major indicators on the weekly chart showing that we possibly are at the temporary bottom and the bulls shall soon return. Now, what we're also going to speak about is the possibility of an ETH to Bitcoin breakout, which is big. Then what we have secondly above that is if we look on the daily, we're starting to see Bitcoin dominance slow down. And what I've been doing is tracking this trend to the upside. And if we lose this trend over here, possibly showing that we're finally going to have this dominance release to the downside. Now, we've been waiting for ages to see when are we going to have an alt season or when are we going to have an altcoin push or a pump. And basically what we're seeing here is if we lose this trend over here, it's going to attempt these lows. We lose those lows over here, we're coming all the way back down to the 44%. Now, this is what we've been waiting for, guys. Secondly, above that, what could help us create that is if we look at the Ethereum dominance, all of a sudden we're seeing strength within Ethereum. And what we know is if we ever want a Bitcoin dominance push to the downside and to have an altcoin run and to have a possible alt season, we need Big Daddy ETH to wake up. And now what we have is ETH waking up on the Ethereum dominance too, possibly showing us a weekly breakout to the upside. We have the DXY showing bearish divergence and at resistance right now. We have news coming out in a few hours. Is this the moment where we get a Bitcoin bounce? We have bounced on the 200 moving average. We have bounced there twice at the moment. We have a trend that we need to break. We're going to speak about these levels and we're going to speak about altcoins. We're speaking about Litecoin. We're speaking about XRP. We're speaking about Render. All the ones that are showing strength now, even KAVA. I think KAVA is going to be a big one. This is going to be a massive show. I am back in Cape Town, baby. I am back in the studios. I am tired. I'm jet lagged, but I'm pumped to see you all. I'm excited to get the shows on the road. No more wasting time. Let's get into it.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper.
Banter fam, I've missed you all. I'm excited to be back in action. I hope you've all had a fantastic day, a fantastic week. I see we haven't missed much. I see Bitcoin has hit the 26,000 area twice and ultimately now possibly forming a double bottom on the shorter time frames. If we break major levels, hopefully we get a weekly breakout. We have the weekly stochastic RSI this far from the bottom, from being fully oversold at the moment. We don't have a crazy directional market at the moment, but the bears have attempted. They've attempted to bring price down. And ultimately, if these indicators all flash right now and we do have a bounce, the bulls are still well in control at the moment. So we're going to be going through a lot of that. The first thing you need to do is smash the subscribe button, join the family if you're brand new. Secondly, if you're part of the family, what's up? Say yo, what's happening in the chat? I would love to know how you guys are doing out there. We have Sniper School's running at the moment. We have another cohort starting in the next 3 weeks. So if you have a look below in the description and you click the register to Sniper School, it's the best school out there. We went to Bitcoin Miami and everyone is looking at the school. We had a stand. We met all the other influencers. And to be honest, they like the school. They like the school. They're seeing what we're doing. And everyone that has done school, it's taken you to a whole nother level. I believe that all of you guys already know 90% of the work. I'm just going to put a little bit of structure to it and get you actually going. We all sit and pray for this bull market to happen at any moment. I need to make sure you're ready for when it happens. I remember when I started my journey, we went from $10,000 Bitcoin to $40,000 Bitcoin, and I was making zero money. And I tried to understand why. And that's why through Sniper School, I've been teaching all of these things. Secondly, we're coming to the end. We have our good old David, which done Sniper School. I think he's still winning the Bybit competition at the moment. So that's coming to an end soon. Someone's going to win a Tesla, which is very, very, very exciting. So let's jump into the chart, guys. Let's have a look currently what's happening. So from tomorrow, from the rest of the week, this is the time the shows start again. I now realize how early it is for the guys in the US. You know, I was getting up at 5 o'clock to prep for a show to do it at 6 o'clock. It's crazy. So I do apologize for that. Now I understand your struggle when it comes to the show times. But now we're back to normal times, guys. Normal times. So let's jump into Bitcoin. Let's have a look. So firstly, what we did have, yes, a little bit of pullback, not insanely strong from the bears, to be honest. Like, we're not looking at crazy strong pullbacks at the moment. Yes, we are having, some pullback in the market, but ultimately we still have Bitcoin holding good levels. Now we have the very important levels. So the first thing I want to go through is the short time frame. What we've seen now is we've seen two pushes come down to the $25,800 level. And what we saw recently is now we're seeing a possible double bottom. Now, to confirm that, what we want to see is maybe another smaller retest over here, a higher low, but ultimately we want to break the trend. So what we want to see now is we're starting to get a lot of RSIs getting to the bottom on the shorter time frames. And what we're waiting for is the break of this trend. So if you jump to the 8-hour chart, you put in these two points over here, the first one on the 5th of May and the second one, the 22nd of May, and we have this trend. Now, if we do decide to break this trend, this is definitely a double bottom and good when it comes to the medium or the short-term timeframes. And what we want to obviously see above that is we want to see us make our way above the 27,500, giving us our first official higher high. We have not had many higher highs since we started this downtrend, and that will be the first early indication. So if that does start to play out, what we would like to see is possibly something where we sit like this. I know we got some news today, but ultimately break through here, make the high, small retest, great buying retest when it comes to shorter time frames, and possibly weekly. I'll speak about that now. And from that, we should now attempt the highs. Now, again, once we do start that, it's important for us to recover the big zones. The first big zone will be basically the $30,000 level. And obviously above that, we want to break the $31,000 zone. Now, I want to show you guys quickly when it comes to that, just before I get up the short time frame, let's actually just go back a second. So that's bullish scenario. Bearish scenario, we come down, we lose these lows. There's a possibility for the 24 to 25K region. The reason why is I still see the 200 weekly moving average being a very strong support, but there is a lot of people longing there. And if they do want to screw them a little bit, they will send a wick down pretty quick. I will definitely have buy orders sitting between 23 and 24,000 in case that does happen. And that's only if I start to see that we start to lose these lows. Right now, we're looking good. And ultimately, we want to hold these lows. We do. I'm getting ready for the longs. I'm getting ready for the strong push to the upside. Now, I want to jump quickly to the weekly. And let's go through 4 of really big indicators that we're focusing on at the moment. Firstly, what we have is the horizontal support. These levels that we struggled to break through for the last few months, we finally broke through that. And we saw the big ass candle that came out of nowhere from the bulls. And we smashed through all of that, creating a nice short squeeze. Now what we want to do is obviously we want to hold those levels. Everything works with resistance support, and that's how things continue to work. So what I want to see now is the first thing is we're still above horizontal supports. So ultimately, anywhere above 24,000, we are respecting the horizontal supports. That's a really good thing when it comes to the first major step that we're looking at to see. We've had the bulls response. Now it's the bears. And ultimately, we hold the support over here. It's going to go test the next resistances. The first one, yet again, the highs. We'll see if we double top, we get through that. And above that, we start to get to the higher levels of 36,000 and possibly 40,000, which is still definitely on the cards. Now, that's step 1. Step 2 is obviously focusing on us weekly closing above the 200 MA. Now, this doesn't mean that there's not going to be any wicks. There will be wicks. Why? Because we do have these supports here at 24. We do have the original trend. So there might be wicks, but what we want to focus on by the end of the week is us closing above the 200 MA. We close above that. We finally officially turned this previous resistance into major support. And this will be a big thing for the bulls. Because the bulls, what are they doing? They're slowly stepping up step by step every single time. So we want to see that play. The next thing is we have the support bullish trend. As long as we hold this is a big indication to know that is the low in for Bitcoin. That's the big question. Is the low in? This is that trend. As long as we hold that trend, the low is in for Bitcoin. And that's a big thing to focus on. That's step 3. Step 4, what we have is the RSI getting down to the bottom now. Now we're near. If we close this week currently where we're at now, this RSI will start hitting to these areas over here. The last time we hit these zones, Bitcoin was sitting at the $17,000, $18,000 mark. And now we're sitting at these zones over here. Every time we have hit these zones, we've always had a good response. And you can see where we're at now. So right now we have 4 indications showing that Bitcoin's still holding support. Bitcoin's still very much in the bullish territory. And what I want to remind you guys again as well to, the big decision is, are these lows in? And remember the last cycles. It's quite crazy how they do respect a little bit when it comes to time. But the last bull market high in 2017, we went 400 days until the low was in. Okay, and if you look at it now, it's crazy how 400 days in we had the bounce, and it's the exact same thing playing out yet again. Not only do we have the RSIs, the stochastic RSI, and I'll bring that up again because it's important. It's important to zoom out to understand where we are. Not only did the RSIs do the same thing and respect it beautifully and exits at the same time, what we are seeing is it's respecting the same time frames when the bounce actually happened. Bounce happened in the exact same zone, and ultimately it was 400 days to the low. So it's crazy on the monthly, technically showing that if we hold this trend that we're in right now, the lows could possibly end. And that will obviously come down to this next low that's happening now. If we bounce at the 26.25 and we break through into the 30s, 40s, it's very likely that the possible low is in. Maybe there's a little bit of depression at some points. But so far, Bitcoin's still bullish, guys. It's still looking really good at the moment as long as we hold all of those shorter indicators. Now, let's speak about the next thing. The next thing I want to talk about is let's actually speak about Total 3, because we've been waiting for alt season. Okay, I've been prepping for alt season, and to be honest, guys, all those portfolios I've only but been adding to. So that portfolio that I made you guys, I've only but been adding to that portfolio, because for me, yes, it didn't happen the way I wanted to, but the market didn't pump, and I never got, and I wasn't not in, which was a big thing. So if the market all of a sudden we had an alt season run and I wasn't in, that would have been a problem. But by me getting in, and alt season didn't happen yet, amazing. I'm still in, and that's a big thing. But what I want to pay attention to here is the Total 3, is the altcoins. And what we're starting to see is a slightly angled possible inverse head and shoulders. And you can see this over here. We basically have the left shoulder, the head, and now we're possibly forming the right shoulder. Now above that, again, look how far oversold the Total 3 is getting. We're getting really down there when it comes to the weekly stochastic RSI. The last times they were here, look at the really good bounces we ended up getting. Now, these were the 2 runs, guys. Remember the beginning of the year and these nice pushes from the altcoins. That came from these oversold RSIs being at the bottom on the weekly. And now we're getting the same thing happening over here again, in the same position in the same place. And yet again, we're holding a higher low. So what I'm basically seeing is possibly this play over here. Firstly, I want to explain this. This is a huge support for altcoins. And every time we are hitting these areas in the weekly, we are bouncing. Now, what we're waiting for is obviously alt season. We're waiting for the strong push. And that happens when we get above these major areas. We never managed to get on the last push. Therefore, we didn't start the huge squeeze. But this is where the huge squeeze starts to happen any moment, okay? Now, what I'm seeing here is possibly this play, that we are getting this RSI to the bottom. And if we hold these levels now, and this candle turns green that we're currently in over here, I think we're going to attempt those highs again. And if we break those highs and break this trend, I'm seeing a small retest and us getting to the offload and getting us into a squeeze on the higher time frames. Okay. Now I want to explain to you what this basically means for us, because if you look over here, firstly, anyone that's investing in these areas over here, for me, is smart money. It's money when everyone's uncomfortable. Now you say in the chat right now, do you believe it's alt season or not? Many of you are going to say no, right? And that's what smart money runs on. It runs on where's majority of them thinking. I believe these major areas, this huge support over here and this zone over here is smart money, okay? Once this breaks out and starts to make its way up, maybe now, maybe in another 2-3 weeks, we shall see. But once this starts to make its way to the upside, you're then going to hit this big gap at some point, okay? And this gap over here is where price is going to accelerate really quickly, where you can literally see up to a 50 to a 60 to 80% push within the Total 3. This is altcoins, excluding Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum. Okay, this for me will be the retail run, but the more experienced, the guys that have one bull run in them, they were in maybe the 2017, the 2020, they got a bit of experience. They'll be in by the time this hits here, which is good. After that, you can then have the possibility, because who knows, guys, we can't sit and say the low's not in. If the low's in, you need to be ready for it, right? You need to understand how and the different people that are going to come in at different stages. So we'll have the experienced retail run here. Once you break through here, and we start to make our way to that, this is where the degen retail come in, the inexperience. Like we like to call them the fish. So what we're trying to do here is to make sure that we are still falling under the smart money. Now we have this huge support here. And so far, we're coming down to those areas. And if we bounce here, that's it, guys. It's a higher low on the weekly. It's an inverse head and shoulders. And from here, this is great entries when it comes within the altcoins. Now, there is, I like to call it a life-changing load up zone. Okay, and there is one more support when it comes to the weekly. And that's down here. Okay, now this would have to take something huge. It would have to take something massive because it says basically 50 to 60% down from here within altcoins. I like to call this life-changing load up zone because if you get this, always save a little bit of cash in case you do, because any little bit of money you can get in over here will be absolutely massive. I see Pulse Chain. Guys, I'm in myself. Let's see what happens. I know many people are speaking about Pulse Chain. Let's see what happens. In Richard we trust, I suppose, right? So I did sacrifice a while ago. I'm holding Pulse X, all of them. Let's see what happens. I think I'm just holding for a long period of time. Let's see what goes on there. But right now, guys, we are not promised this at all. Try have some sort of cash in case it does happen. But for me, if we hold these lows over here, I'm looking at these major areas. So all that I want you to do, we go into the life-changing zone. Be ready if you do, okay? I'll have some cash if we do. We're not promised that, though. We're definitely not, because when it comes to the higher time frames, we've technically hit support. You see the zone over here? That previous high of the last bull market, we've hit that as the low. And technically, that should be a previous resistance that now becomes support. And all that happened in this time was price accelerated way too fast. Remember what I say about price. It goes sideways for a while. It goes really quick. Problem is, when you go too fast to the upside, eventually price comes down and fills that gap. And this is the smart money loading up yet again. So for me, this is a big support and a big area of where I'm loading up on altcoins quite a bit again, because again, we are sitting with these very important, before I go into the alts, the dominance. So guys, my focus today is to go through a little bit more macro and then ultimately zoom in once we know, because there's some news, there's some data coming out later. It should give some direction. And if Bitcoin does break to the upside, sorry, I see it's quite loud here. If Bitcoin does break that trend to the upside and this dominance moves to the downside, we're going to have a lot of fun trading. We're going to have a lot of fun trading when it comes to the altcoins. So look over here. So I want to zoom out again and show you guys and remind you where Bitcoin dominance is at. If you are not loading up on alts, that means you're predicting. You're predicting that this thing's just going to go up and you're falling too much in love with Bitcoin. Now, but we've been waiting for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes to 23, 24, then it's cheap, I think. Then I think it's buy zone. If it goes any cheaper than that, now it's time to load up on Bitcoin and ETH. But when it comes to this year, Bitcoin's been way overpriced. Altcoins have not been overpriced. They have not run just yet. And guys, we have hit it. We have hit the 49%. How many times did we hit it and came to the downside? Now, I've been speaking about alt season, and I've been sticking to my guns with it. And that's why I've been, because the chart is still saying yet again, we have not broken that area. Nothing is saying 100% we're going into the 50%. And now when I zoom in, I see this trend over here. And now we have a possibility of this dominance dropping. Now, guys, if this dominance does drop, you've got two levels. You've got this level over here, which will be a small one, nice little altcoin catch up. But above that, if we drop that zone, there's a huge drop coming within the dominance. Now, who says we don't even go all the way down to the bottom again? Because you can see very much this dominance has been in the range. And I've explained this to you guys many times. Ultimately, if you had to get altcoins here, let's paint the picture, right? We've been through bear market now. Guys, we've been through, okay, maybe alt season takes another 3 months. We've been through that. We can survive that. There's no issue. What we can't survive, though, is this ends up going all the way down and you weren't ready for it. This is why when it comes to anything, would you be longing or shorting this coin on the weekly, guys? What would you be doing? If you had to see a coin that's doing this right now, would you long or short the coin as it stands right now? You'd probably short it. And again, if we lose this and this decides to go on this long tree down, any altcoins or anything that you loaded up here, I believe it's the smart money. And you guys are going to be the ones that seriously strive and make a lot for this opportunity. So for me, again, Bitcoin is still slightly overpriced. And this may be the moment where we do have a dominance push to the downside. Now, that will be because of Ethereum. That will definitely be because of Ethereum. Because right now, all of a sudden, Ethereum is waking up. It's waking up on the high time frames. It's waking up to the Ethereum Bitcoin, which I'll speak about shortly. But this is a big one. We might have a weekly close. This is coming basically all the way from 2021. We might have a weekly close of the Ethereum dominance to the upside. If we close and have a breakout, it means Ethereum is waking up. What does that mean? Dominance. Dominance to lose that trend to the downside. So we need to pay attention to this, because what this basically means is if we confirm this breakout and we confirm the higher high, which is basically above the 21.2% area, we're then going for these highs. And now I want to zoom out and see, okay, what does this mean on the higher time frame? I still said it, and I've said it the whole year, I believe ETH will outperform Bitcoin, and I still believe that. And this is a really, really, really good sign. It's a very high time frame trade. And you can see over here, if we break those highs, where this can go. Now, if this breaks and this high over here, and we decide to go here, that does take dominance back down to 40% for me, because that's a huge push within ETH. Now, what I want to look at is obviously how ETH is looking to the Bitcoin dominance. Firstly, we had this wave. And what this wave was basically a strong push up and a flag to the downside. Now, where it's bouncing at the moment is perfect, because you basically have a bounce on the 618. Secondly, above that, you have this down wedge forming. And what we want to see is a break of this trend. It's approaching it now. So in the next 2-3 days, or by the end of this week, we want to see a close outside this area. If it happens, you then have Ethereum to Bitcoin attempting the highs. Now, that already is looking at around 20-30% outperformance of Bitcoin. But what we're also excited about is if that dominance decides to go to those higher levels, you could possibly have the Ethereum to Bitcoin go to the way higher zones up there. So for me, I'm still way more bullish on Bitcoin than Ethereum when it comes to actually those. And what I actually want to see is, let's actually go quickly have a look and see where Ethereum is on the higher time frames. Let's see where it's at. There we go. So we have the RSI getting to the bottom on Ethereum. Don't count Ethereum out, guys. You've got to have Ethereum in your portfolio, definitely. Look at this wedge. Look at the higher high. Look how we're still in the rising trend support trend over here. We're still well above the 200 weekly MA. And ultimately, if we break this trend to the upside, I'm still seeing the $2,600 Ethereum. We'll talk about 3K. We'll see about higher. But for now, this for me, again, anywhere between the $1,700, $1,800 level for ETH, I'm buying Ethereum. No longer, yes, it's nice to have altcoins and things like that, but Ethereum is a big player, and I'm definitely in. Now, let's speak about quickly the Dixie. This we want to see reverse today. So we've had this going up for a little while now. We've had some strength within the Dixie, and ultimately it is forming this sort of downwards pattern, but it is very near a possible breakout. So I think the news and the stuff that's coming, massive popcorn effect on those altcoins. Guys, you don't even understand. If that dominance goes downside, like everyone that has given me shit about saying when alt season, everyone's going to come and apologize. Like very much. I've been sticking to the gun, and that's what you have to do, guys. Sometimes the timing is tough. Timing is always going to be the hardest thing in crypto. But it's about sticking to your guns and sticking to your plan. It's very, very, very important. But what we have here is if we reject here, this could be good. Because firstly, what we have is if we take the 618, we're in the golden zone for a short of the Dixie at the moment. Okay. If we reject over here, definitely confirming the short. If we break this trend over here, definitely confirming the short. And what this could basically mean is here, A, B, push to the downside. Where would that downside go to? And this obviously means something bullish for the stock markets. So I don't know what it would be, but ultimately, if we do have that, we're coming down to these lower areas, if not over here. And that would be a really, really, really good thing. Let's actually quickly have a look at the stock market and where that's at the moment. So still at the moment in this current uptrend, the current leg at the moment, if we take over here, on 618 right now. So if there's a bounce coming, it's today. If not tomorrow, it's coming very soon. And what we do want to see, obviously, when it comes to the futures is us finally break out of that trend. Then we can push. If that happens, it might be an all-time high, and we'll be ahead of it. Now, let's speak about coins. I gave you guys Litecoin. I hope you guys got the buy on Litecoin. I did 1 or 2 shows the last few days of Miami. I said Litecoin at 618. It hits it literally to the cent. So anyone that got those, amazing. Okay. I do think Litecoin can possibly come test again. Now, Litecoin, some reason, great volume at the moment. Great to Bitcoin pairing. And Litecoin's looking extremely bullish. So if there is a possible little higher low over here, and it does come test between the 83 and 84, great later load up zone. Even short time frame, amazing with the stops under the previous low. But if we bounce here, I see Litecoin breaking this major trend over here. And I see Litecoin going towards the 100, if not the 120. So focus on Litecoin. The next one that I want to speak about is the XRP. So this, guys, you have literally an hour left. If we, on the 12-hour, close above here, something's happening with XRP. We'll find out soon. But we're breaking out this trend. It's looking incredibly bullish right now compared to Bitcoin. So if you're looking for some trades and to make some money while you're waiting for the rest of the market to wake up, XRP for me looks really good. My buy zones currently at the moment is basically 45 cents 50 to basically the 46.50 sort of area is my buy zones, and my stops around the 44.20, 44.30 level. Where I'm seeing this going is I'm just looking at the major areas. If this is a correction, we will go to 618, which is the 52-54%. Okay, and that will be a great TP. We'll see if the dailies are at the top, all these sort of things. We then have the next area of the 58 cents, and then above that, we have all the way at the 74-cent mark. So the markets wake up. If that dominance drops, I think XRP is going to fly. So XRP, beware of it. I think it looks good. Next one I want to focus on is BNB. So BNB has hit yet again the same support. It's hit it once, twice, third time, fourth time, and now getting bought up really quickly. So what you want to focus on here is maybe there's a slight push again, but it looks like this early 300 levels is a really strong level for BNB at the moment. And what you're waiting for is as soon as it gets its first high of the 315. So you've got a choice. You either load up in these areas here and you have your stops. Why? Because you can see very clearly that's the lows. So your stops can be tight. If we lose that, it's going down to lower areas, possibly to the 270, 260. We shall see. So here's a great risk to reward trade for me to take now. Or what you have is the second scenario where we break, we make the high, quick retest, and then you're in. But this ultimately, I still have a $500 target. I really do. And I have 420 and I have these. These could possibly be those entries. This market wakes up at any moment. Like, you know how it works, guys. Is basically it's you prepping for this huge ass game in sports. So you're training, you're doing this, but you don't know when the game is. You don't know when it is. So you train. All of a sudden the game comes. And whatever skills you got, that's what you got. You've got no more time to train. You've got no more time to get entries. Like, that's your skills. That's where it all happens. And that's how it is in crypto. Whenever it takes off, that's what you got. Anything you buy later, you know, it's worthless now. You're entering the later stages. I want you to think of yourself in these three categories. In the smart money category, the experienced retail, or the inexperienced degen retail. Which one are you? And that's what you got to really put yourself to understanding. So BNB, huge interest here. Pay attention to it. It looks like it wants to rocket. The next one we have here is Injective. So this, what I like, firstly, there's some bullish divergence on the shorter time frame. It's holding support at the moment. And my areas of loaded up here is between 5.8 and the 6.3. Bigger zone, this is a spot trade. If I want to enter now, the stops will be here for now. But what I want to see, obviously, is us range and break this trend. This has been one of the most funnest coins to trade within this year and a very bullish token. And ultimately, if we break that trend, it's attempting, if not the $9, if not the highs, if not even the targets of up to $15. So focus here on Injective. And remember, don't be afraid to buy supports, because if it loses supports and you get stopped out, it's going way lower. The main thing is you fishing. People want to catch fish, right? They want to catch the big fish. They want to make a lot of money. You have to fish to catch fish. You know, it's very simple. Banter's my personal trader. Guys, I missed you guys. I see a lot of people not used to my new time, so viewers are a lot lower down. But this is the same thing. If I'm on 20, 30,000, just use this. This is a really good way for you to. If I'm ever between 15 to 30,000 viewers, okay, on my shows, it's buy time. When I'm at 100,000 viewers, it's sell time. Okay, so just use a very simple metric, and I'm giving you guys this now. Look at the views of YouTube within our shows. If we're anywhere between 15 and 30,000, buy. And if we're anywhere at 80 to 100,000, 150,000 views, sell. Just use the YouTube indicator. It's a big one. So Injective is another big one to be focusing on there. Let's speak about Render for a second. So I spoke about the buys. Guys, I gave you guys these buys on Render. Like, we should be all really doing well in Render at the moment. It's definitely not buy time now. But for those that are holding, you know, what you want to see is you are about to approach a really big resistance. Really, really big resistance, which is the areas of around the 3.2. And I do think a good TP in that area will make sense, because what I'm seeing over here is basically like a big cup and handle or big inverse head and shoulders. We have this over here, huge ass face, nice little cup, and then we shall see. But you're not guaranteed on where this is going to be going on the next pullback. So ultimately, some profits there would make sense. If you got really good entries around $1, you can hold on strong, because the next resistances, if it breaks through there, you know, we know a lot fundamentally is happening there at the moment, but you basically got the areas of the $4 and then you have the $6 area. I just think it's too expensive now. I think you can get a better entry. And if you really made some good money, I wouldn't be surprised to take some profits, get some Bitcoin, get some ETH, and focus it. But for now, it's not buy time. But well done on those who did really make money on that trade. The next one is KAVA. So guys, KAVA I've been speaking about, and I'm speaking about it again. I'm loading up a lot in this area just on spot. It's a support and resistance flip at the moment, and it's looking good. There is slightly lower of around between the 90 cents and $1, and I'll be prepared in case that happens. But when you fill this wick like this, when you form this big wick, it's very likely price goes back up there at some point. So it comes here and starts to make its way back. If we don't make the higher high, take profits. But that's a good 30-40% for you, right? So pay attention over here. There's a lot of interest, a lot of volume. I think KAVA is looking good. Super's looking amazing. I will go through all the other standards, guys, as in throughout this week, Cardano, Solana, all of those. I just want to focus about what's currently moving right now. Chainlink is definitely a buy for me when it comes to the long-term spots. I think Chainlink's definitely a big one. And then we'll basically take it from there. So, guys, today we want to focus on a few things. We want to focus again on Bitcoin. We want to see that we can break 27,000. 27,500 is the higher high. If you get the higher high, buy the higher low. Incredible. Amazing. We want to see Ethereum dominance breakouts, and we want to see a Bitcoin dominance breakout to the downside. We want to see a Dixie fall. If that happens, load up. Because again, this alt season can come at any moment, and I want you to be prepared. I'm glad to be back. I love you all. I miss you all. I'm back in action. I'm feeling good. And I'll see you all on tomorrow's show. We'll degen. Let's wait for the market to give us the next big move. Litecoin, XRP, not so much render, Injective protocol. Focus on these for now. Once we have the big breakouts, then we get trading. Much love, Banter fam. I'll see you all tomorrow.